Welcome to the Warrior Gamer Headquarters podcast. Lieutenant Colonel Ken Crigliano, your co-host.
I'm Sam Peterson, former Army bomb technician turned entrepreneur, and now I'm the director of veteran programs for a company called Altior Healthcare. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my story and how I got here. I started off like my military career, like a lot of us, tons of daddy issues, issues with mental health in my family, and wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. So joined the military right out of high school, and the recruiter showed me a couple fancy videos of explosions and robots, and I was like, hell yeah, like I'm gonna be a bomb tech. This is the coolest thing ever. It's way better than being like an airborne ranger or something like that. So it turns out it's not actually like Call of Duty. And I really love my job. It was so much fun, learning to blow things up, to take apart IEDs, and to really interdict in some of the most dangerous parts of being deployed overseas was super fun. The problem is that what they don't tell you is EOD has the highest suicide rate of any job in the military. And that's primarily because of our exposure to continual blast overpressure. So that causes a lot of issues within the brain, and it can lead to a variety of different mental health problems. It did with me. It got me to the point where, at one point I was highly suicidal, like had my 45 in my mouth and was just about to pull the trigger. And the only reason I did is because my phone went off. And it was one of my buddies inviting me over to, our version of Christmas, and it saved my life. And it really changed it. And I didn't realize how impactful that was going to be until 5 months later. A mentor of mine, just out of nowhere, walked out into his backyard on Memorial Day and shot himself with his 3-year-old son in the house. And I was the last guy to talk to him at the unit. And I can tell you to this day, there were no signs. There was no, optimistic, smoking and joking, talking about the future. And then all of a sudden, bam. And it really got me thinking, like, shit, am I going to wait for someone else to like solve this mental health problem? I got to line out the door of my buddies who have made it through combat deployments, in Iraq and Afghanistan, both super kinetic environments, and they're offing themselves in droves. Why? Like, why isn't the establishment better at figuring out shit that actually works? So, went on this journey to try to fix myself and my friends. It led me to assist to start a nonprofit for vets with traumatic brain injuries. From there, help develop an intranasal stem cell protocol so we can like upregulate the body's natural stem cell production, and then take those stem cells and put them directly into the brain through the sinus passage. And it's shown some really great promise in treating chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It also has some indications for things like Alzheimer's, because they're all kind of interrelated. Moved from there to starting an outpatient psychiatry practice in Denver. It's called Mind Spa. And there we treat post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injuries, depression, anxiety, with a combination of ketamine, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, transcranial magnetic stimulation, as well as talk therapy and traditional med management. And then from that, got the opportunity to bring that same flavor of care to the VA. So finally, got the opportunity to really open up the floodgates and treat like all of us. I know, Ken, you're still in, but you'll get the joy of dealing with the VA system soon enough. And it's really been a passion of mine to take these therapies that on their own stand the test of research, and bring them all into an integrative program that can actually heal the brain. Because that's, in my time as a mental health professional, that's what we really want. No one wants to engage with a therapist or be on a medication for the rest of their lives. So like we really want to go and get fixed. And with these these new technologies that are really coming into the fold now and gaining a lot of adoption, we can actually do that. And that's what I'm here to talk about. That's what excites me, and that's where I came from.
Wow, Bilal. Finally, like I think this is like you this is all you, buddy. Even though like I have
This
100 questions, like there are so
I
many things this guy dropped, though. I just want to be all over. But go for
Yeah,
it, brother.
there's a lot of layers to this. I mean, I think what you're talking about is you've essentially combined all of mine and all of Ken's background into one area. So I speak from a more medical aspect as a medical student interested in the mental health field, and Ken speaks from a military as having that veterans background. And so, putting that together in an environment that actually works is really key. And I think what happens a lot, and I see this in healthcare, I mean, we're just kind of sending people off one place after the other. The care kind of gets disjointed, follow-up is a bit tough, and then there's often this kind of lack of understanding, I mean, among people who are especially not veterans, that just don't understand the VA or how everything works, or what the needs actually are, and they just said, okay, we'll just go to the VA and take care of it. It's like, well, you're going to need a little bit more than that. And so what you're doing is incredibly integrative. I mean, so I'm interested in kind of how did you manage to, I guess, take all these separate components and put it into one? Like, what was your flow, your step-by-step process to making that happen?
Well, I mean, it really started with the traumatic brain injury treatment protocol. It was, looking at alternative treatments. I had been on God knows how many SSRIs and SNRIs and just got nothing out of them, which is very common considering they're only 33% efficacy on their very best day, per the STAR-D study. So was looking into alternative treatments, found ketamine back in 2015, 2016. Ketamine was just really starting to come into its own. We were starting to see ketamine clinics in just about every major city treating depression on a cash pay basis. I was like, okay, well, if people are paying cash for this, it's got to work, or there's some efficacy to this. Looked into it a lot harder, and like sure enough, people are getting like real relief from symptoms. All right, it's not lasting that long, so we have a therapeutic measure that works. Why? Why is this? Why is this working? And so started the nonprofit and started paying for vets to go to ketamine, and at the same time heard about hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Like, okay, we've got these vets with traumatic brain injuries, and they're actually getting healed. Okay, what is the mechanism by which this healing is taking place? And then combining the two was really just it was easy because on one hand you have hyperbaric, which it's really awesome, but it still takes 1 to 2 weeks to really start feeling better. And even in the first 2 weeks, you can feel very lethargic from doing HBOT, especially if there's a severe, or not, maybe not severe, but a moderate on the severe side traumatic brain injury, where you're having these patients who are dealing with TBI symptoms, daily, like, post-concussive migraines. If you do ketamine first, gone. Like, you drastically downregulate inflammatory cytokine production in the brain, and functionally you're pressing Control Alt Delete on the brain. So when you have things like comorbid depression, which is the strongest comorbidity with traumatic brain injuries and PTSD, boom, like that's just taken care of. And you take someone who has struggled with the medical establishment for years, if not decades, in pain all the time, in a panic mode all the time, and all of a sudden it's like the monkey's off their back, and they're like, holy shit. All right, keep talking, dude. Like, what you're doing has some validity. You get that buy-in from the patient, and all of a sudden, like, they're involved in the process. They're motivated. They're like, hell yeah, like, what else can we stack onto this to make sure I can feel this way all the time? Like, let's make this my new normal. And that's where it started. And then it really came tacking the rest of these things on with the transcranial magnetic stimulation, in particular, deep transcranial magnetic stimulation, was just partnering with psychiatrists and, getting told over and over again that I wasn't doing it right until I read enough PubMed that I could recite everything by heart.
What you're saying is exactly spot on. Because in the field of psychiatry, for those listening that don't exactly know, with depression, you have your SSRIs, your selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. That's your mainstay treatment. And then you have your cognitive behavioral therapy. That tends to be the big one that people go to. There are other forms of therapy, but those are the main two. When those fails, you go to SNRIs. When those fails, you go to TCAs, MAOs. And then just kind of cycle of drugs that you kind of go to with varying degrees of efficacy, varying levels of efficacy for person to person. And it just becomes too much. And people hear ketamine, people get scared, but the reality is, ketamine, although it is known for being a drug of abuse, if used in a controlled condition on patient populations that typically don't, and this is the key, a lot of the patient population that uses ketamine typically don't have a history of drug abuse. IV ketamine can work. And it's because of this that a lot of these cash clinics have been opening up. And research is continuing to happen. I mean, people still don't know the long-term effects of it because it is so recent, but the benefits are definitely there. And what people kind of criticize it for is, okay, well, you're getting all this cash, you're getting this treatment, patients love it, but what else? I mean, you can't just give a drug and move on. And so what you're doing to integrate all these different things, I think it is what the mind and body really need to heal together. Because as you know, the drugs themselves just aren't enough.
Yeah, what I tell our guys going into our Patriot PowerUp program or coming to MindSpa is, ketamine is a transient experience. It is a bridging therapy. What we're doing here is we're giving you a taste of what you could feel like all the time, and then using the deep transcranial magnetic stimulation and the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, where we work to make that your new normal. But if you're healing the brain, if you're rewiring the brain around these issues like PTSD, where you have a traditionally overactive amygdala, underactive prefrontal cortex, that shit takes time. So,
Right.
It's very easy to become attracted to that instantaneous release. But it's important to understand, and with your background preaching to the choir, like doing anything that's going to, like alter your brain or heal your brain in such a way is going to take time. And that's where those other therapies come in, because some people get hyperbaric. You're talking, if you really want a good clinical effect, 40 plus sessions done 5 days a week. You're talking TMS, 36 sessions 5 days a week. It's a time commitment, but then it's like, well, if you're suffering bad enough, it doesn't matter how long it takes. You're like, all right, cool, sign me up.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, like with everything that you're saying, you're essentially, what you're doing here is you're at the cutting edge of what this treatment looks like. And if this works, you could, along with the help of your team and everybody, effectively create a new standard of care. I mean, how do you feel about that?
That is absolutely the goal. That is why I exist, is to change the standard of care in mental health, especially for vets. And I've got a soft spot for combat vets just because I am one. But I think that's where it starts. I want this to be available to everyone, because it really does work. I've yet to see someone not get better. And I know that's a very anecdotal thing to say. The part of our journey through Patriot PowerUp is gathering all this data through a bunch of different modalities to show, first the VA and then commercial insurance payers that, hey, you bring someone in here in a condensed block of condensed window, we can address the underlying cause and we can keep people out of the ER. We can save you, the insurance company's, money. So it's in your best financial interest to just nip this shit in the bud. Because if you let it go long enough, it's gonna cost you more.
That's right. I got a bill. I think I got the statement of care. I think like 4 years after my TBI that I had like over $1 million of medical expenses, and most of it was like just calling the ambulance twice and then like going in an ER so many times. And like I wish I would have had, dude, I wish I would have known
20.
all this stuff so long ago. It was so much more effective than giving me all these stupid pills and shit, melatonin and all this nonsense. Like, so
taking a hormone for sleep.
I know. Oh man, I just remember years, 6 years. I just was like, I just want to sleep, man. I just want to have a night's rest.
I mean, you still have sleep problems?
No, not anymore. I got new calm now, baby. Like
New calm.
Oh, dude, you got to try transcranial direct stimulation.
I have. New calm used to do it. That used to be the way that they would get to down regulate the autonomic system, so the acoustic algorithms could come in. And now they have like a little patch that goes on the end of the vagal nerve on the left wrist. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, you showed it to me. Yeah, you put that on me.
Yeah. You did a session. That's right. You did a session. You are not. Oh my God, Bilal. This guy was sleeping, laying down on the ground, out. Esports competition, people screaming and yelling, and
they were not that loud.
Well, yeah, you had the headphones, but
I had headphones on.
I got okay. My turn. Okay, so I have to take notes on this stuff because a few of these things I've not heard of ketamine, so I had to
get educated. It was recognized by the World Health Organization to be one of the most important drugs of our age.
Wow. I'm looking on the DEA webpage and some other ones, and it's very interesting. So my question is, it's always interesting to me to hear people's journey on like the modalities and the protocols, and we use big words, but the things that people use to try to make themselves not only get better, but feel better, and like how and when and how much, right? So can you talk just a little bit? What I do as an athlete is I just call my elite friends because they have all the secrets. Like my friends have like hyperbaric chambers in their house, like they have this stuff in their house. And so I'm like, okay, what time to use it? When to use it? And do you mix this? Do you stack this? And it's super like sophisticated. So I'm really interested in like, how'd you come across these? And then why did you select these? And like the sequencing and stuff, just real quick. I don't want to take too much time.
No, you're good. Sequencing, start with ketamine because you're resetting the brain bioelectrically. You're getting relief from those symptoms like the depression, the anxiety. You get the monkey off your back, and all of a sudden you can actually focus on getting better.
So that's when someone first comes in, right? Like that's when you're not doing that first, like for 3 months or whatever.
No, and I have to like just hit the pause button and like a little medical disclaimer. None of this is medical advice. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not a fucking doctor. I just know a lot about this shit. And anything coming to our clinics or coming to any of the programs that I represent does not mean you are going to get a drug. It means you're going to talk to a psychiatrist who's going to see if you're a good fit for this treatment. So that has to go first.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm seeing medical school over here. Like, yep, that's right. You got to throw the disclaimer in.
Absolutely.
So if someone is a good fit for our programs, we like to start with ketamine because we're resetting that brain, getting them ready to go, and then while they're doing their first initial ketamine series, and it's typically a series of 6 treatments that starts at a relatively low dose and ramps up until we're getting into more of the dissociative aspects of the drug. Patients tend to have a corollary between the level of dissociative experience and the level of relief and the length of the time they have relief from their symptoms. At least that's what we've seen in our operations. Once they start ketamine, we typically start them on hyperbaric oxygen therapy as well as transcranial magnetic stimulation at the same time. In our clinic, we use deep TMS, so that's provided by BrainsWay, and deep TMS anyway, is a helmet that is placed over the head that has an MRI coil in it, and that MRI coil creates a magnetic field under the surface of the scalp, so inside the brain, and it's able to upregulate or downregulate neuronal activity depending on the number of pulses and the frequency that's used. It basically we can target things like the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is underactive in the cases of depression and in PTSD, and we can create that magnetic field inside the brain with no pain and no actual contact with the scalp, and upregulate the density of neurons in that specific part of the brain. So think of that like adding a dimmer switch to your symptoms, like having that cognitive dimmer switch. Typically, trying to think your way out of a panic attack is like trying to sniff your way out of a cocaine problem. This makes it less like that. I can tell you because everything that I'm about to talk about, like I'm talking about from firsthand experience.
Wow.
I've done ketamine at least a couple times a year since 2017, and it helps me get the monkey off my back. I'm an entrepreneur. It's very stressful. Like you're just constantly getting bombarded, and this just quiets everything down so I can focus on the shit I need to. TMS, I did for my depression. I did 60 sessions with the BrainsWay Deep TMS machine on a dual anxiety and depression protocol, and it quieted the room down, and it made those like depressive lows much shallower. And then hyperbaric oxygen therapy, I've done probably 60 sessions myself as well. And that I've also done our intranasal stem cell protocol, but the hyperbaric really, really helped me to heal. Just after all the blasts that I've been through as a bomb technician and all the toxic garbage that you interact with when you're burning and blowing stuff up is nothing to shake a stick at either. But yeah, to answer that question, ketamine first, TMS, HBOT at the same time. That way, again, we're creating that new standard of being, down-regulating inflammation, making people feel better, and then we're working it up. We're healing the brain and rewiring it until these 2 points meet, ideally.
Cool. So, Ro, do you have oh man, there's so many areas. Let me get my thoughts together, Blau. I know you ready to go.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
As far as, your journey to kind of making this the standard of care, what kind of obstacles have you faced and how do you plan on overcoming those?
Right now it's just been about getting the word out. I really think the only obstacles we're going to face are, going to be around data collection. The nice thing is everybody wants this. Like everybody wants, at least when I say everybody, my sample size is pretty big, but let's just say I have yet to run into somebody that has said that's a bad idea. So, yeah, I think obstacles are really getting the word out, and then once the word is out, like dealing with volume and scaling properly, so that we're not letting people fall through the cracks. That's what I'm seeing, because especially now, like we're under a VA contract. People can access this stuff through VA community care. As long as you're on the western side of the country, that's where we're at. I'm in Idaho right now. But yeah, I think it's going to be access, volume management, and ensuring that data is collected in the most stringent way possible.
I like to think these are good problems to have.
I like to think so too.
Yeah.
So, Sam, do you have or does a patient, do you call them patients or clients?
Either or. I think
okay. So if a patient comes in, what sort of like supplementation, is sort of like complementing these protocols? Or is that, are you messing with that?
No, so in Patriot PowerUp, we use athletic greens. That's our go-to mainstay. Athletic greens and protein. At least from my experience, you don't need much more than that. But thanks for hitting on the nutrition piece, because that's such a huge part of healing that people don't. I just haven't heard people talking about it as much, especially when you look at like hyperbaric oxygen therapy. If you look at the studies, there are a lot of people that HBOT has not worked on in clinical studies. And I really believe, just through all of the interactions that I have with all these functional medicine physicians that I work with, that the nutrition component has not been addressed in those studies. Like, what is someone's blood work? What does their hormone profile look like? There are so many pieces that go into healing, healing the brain, healing the body, that we have to address everything. That's why we do full hormone panels. We're doing quantitative EEGs, neuropsych testing, and pharmacogenetic testing, so we can really hit it, hit it on as many levels as possible and get that comprehensive health picture that can then drive our treatment profiles.
Cool. I'm looking this up. So AG1, these the folks I'm
Yep.
assuming you're with. Okay, I
Yep.
have their website up too. So
if
Okay.
anybody at Athletic Greens is listening and wants to partner.
well, I was just going to ask. I mean, we're all very well connected, and there's a lot of companies out in that space. And so yeah, so is that a conversation that you all have had with them, or you just
I sent them an email, but haven't got anything back yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
hey, if someone's got a hookup at AG1, I personally use it. I love it, and it gets me personally like a solid 10 to 15% energy boost. I only know this because someone stole mine one time out of my condo's locker.
No.
Oh, dude, a pox upon their entire family. But they stole my AG1, and I had to go without it for like 2 weeks, and like bags under my eyes, was dragging ass, like had to refill an Adderall prescription just to get any work done. And then I finally was like, fuck it, I'm buying another round.
I thought this smelled like Huberman. So yeah, this is one of his companies. So
Oh yeah. He just reps for him. It's not one of his.
he didn't
All of
buy
his
into it?
episodes, man. All of his
Okay.
episodes, he's like, all right, this podcast is sponsored by Athletic Greens, man. He's big on that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because I know he's with is it Momentous? I think he's with Momentous as well. Huberman. But they do different things. But this is interesting stuff. But it's cool to see who's where. Because if anyone's watching and they want to assist this amazing thing that Sam is doing, like reach out. I'm down in the show notes. You'll see his LinkedIn, you'll see his contact information, websites, all that stuff for that part. And then so what aspect of mental visualization and like cognitive processes do you focus on when, like, say you're putting someone with the ketamine, right? Or you put someone in the hyperbaric, HBOT. What do you have them focus on? Is there any like coupling of that aspect going on?
Yeah, there's a big part of this that is intention based, especially when you're doing ketamine. Like, we're very much not about let the drug do the work. The clinic that we partner with is very somatic in its therapy. So, Bose headphones. One of our vets was actually in treatment today. Like, he's in a room. There's really nice art on the walls. The lights are dimmed. There's like lasers going. Like, it's a full sensory experience, and that's really important, because letting the drug do the work in any traditional, like, if you look at any of the research into psychedelics, like, nobody at MAPS is like, yeah, let the drugs do the work. They're like, no, eye mask, set and setting, specific playlist. Like, there's a curated experience that allows the creation of what we call a biological sense of safety. There's cognitive safety. Yeah, I'm here in this room, I'm safe. And then there's biological safety, the feeling of the nervous system of being in that parasympathetic state. That's like, all right, cool, I'm safe. My shoulders are down. My physiology is reacting in a certain way. My heart rate's calm. My breathing is calm. I'm able to breathe diaphragmatically. All of these things are really important to processing. Same with hyperbaric to a little bit lesser of a degree, but I'm always a fan of, in these things, coming in with an intention, or in the case of like hyperbaric or TMS, I think it's really important to be in those treatments and doing something cognitively stimulating, because you're, with HBOT, You're trying to be calm. You're really trying to just downregulate inflammation, let your body heal. With TMS, you're activating neurons. Well, if you're just sitting there staring at a wall, you're not activating your prefrontal cortex. But if you're reading something or engaging something that's thought provoking or a mind game or a puzzle or something, okay, now you're using your executive functioning centers while you're stimulating your executive functioning centers. The whole purpose of this entire thing is to rewire your brain and strengthen those connections. So the more things we can do to activate while we stimulate, we're going to get a better result. At least that's what the literature indicates.
Yeah, so there's two things you hit at there. It kind of transitions into a curious question I had. First one's a comment. For those who don't understand, MAPS is the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. There is a whole organization for this. Go check that out if you're interested. Second thing, you mentioned cognitive stimulation. You know what else stimulates cognition? Video games.
You're about to say video games.
Yes. So what do you got? What do you got?
I mean, hey, I'm in one of our Patriot PowerUp houses right now, staring at my Xbox Series X that is in here. Gaming is a huge part of what we do, and having fun and making treatment not suck. Like, everyone has this vision in their head of inpatient mental health care, and they're like, they think sterile hospital, like bed chained to the floor, no, not having any shoelaces. And man, I'm enjoying the hell out of flipping that on its head. Like, there's video game consoles in here. We're watching movies. It's about physical wellness. We got, foam rollers and everything. I'm in a really nice kitchen right now. It's mental health care can be VIP, and that VIP feel can be accessible to everyone.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm actually, I have 2 more weeks that I'm going to be spending in the inpatient unit because that's where I'm working for this month. Yeah. And yeah, let me tell you, I mean, dry, you have very structured times for things. I remember when I was getting a tour there, I asked the OT, the occupational therapist, I'm like, you have any video games here? And they're like, we have a Wii, but we don't really use it. I'm thinking, why not? Like, why not? Like, we're just gonna just give them drawings to work on, and like maybe like a TV that's constantly playing like music videos, or could we do something more here? They don't have. Yeah. Don't you think that's gonna affect their mental well-being? I mean,
absolutely.
Really?
Like,
absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be able to disengage and do something else, like chase the flow state. Like, it's really, really important. And if you're not able to do that, like, it's going to have negative repercussions.
The flow state. See, Ken, it happened again.
Every episode.
Every episode.
Single one.
Yes. It's our favorite term. This is the golden nugget.
It's important, and like, you can get there and chase that optimal state, like, while you're in a therapeutic space. And that's important. We have to teach that. Like, because we're, like, the program's called Patriot PowerUp for a reason, because it's not just, inpatient mental health care. We are powering your ass up, like, from top to bottom. And that's just something that's missing. Like, we need to teach people how to be optimized if they're going to live a happy, healthy life.
100%. Because the way medicine is typically structured, do you think of all the types of healthcare you can receive for any problem you can imagine? Medicine is usually at the tail end of it because of how high acuity it works. And because of that, traditional medicine largely is trained for that acuity. So once that acuity is done, all right, you're free to go. But that's only one slice of the pie. I mean, there's a whole aspect of functioning and elevating and being your best self. That aspect of medicine is missing. And I think it's starting to go more into that direction. People are starting to look at functioning and well-being and wellness and mindfulness, things of that nature. But we still have a long way to go. So, we really applaud you for taking on this mission. Patriot PowerUp just sounds like a great time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you read, I'm sure you've read Dr. Peter Attia's book, Outlast. No. I mean, you're in medical. I know you got a lot of reading to do in medical school, but do yourself a favor and throw it on an audiobook. because he really talks about like here we are, medicine 1.0 was like, oh no, you got demons in your blood, let's get the leeches. And then, medicine 2.0, we're using these diagnostics, we're hitting on that acuity, but what we're missing is the fact that a lot of these disease profiles, like let's just talk about neurodegeneration, for instance, like that shit doesn't just happen overnight. Alzheimer's doesn't just happen. It's a decades long process that comes to a head as those beta amyloid proteins are starting to interfere with other neurons. Like it didn't start there. It's been something that's been going on in the background that's gone unnoticed, that we could interdict a lot earlier. And I think that he's right in saying in his book that that's where medicine's going, looking at all of the factors that go into these disease processes like cancer and metabolic disorders, and hitting them, as we used to say in EOD, left of the boom. Like we're trying to get before this happens again.
Exactly. And this is the book you said Outlast?
It's Outlast. It's either Outlast or Outlive.
By Dr.
Peter Attia.
Dr. Peter.
I got it. I pulled it up. Do you want to see it?
Outlive the Science and Art of
Outlive.
Longevity.
There you go. Yep, that's it. Outlive.
Can you see it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Great book. Highly recommend, especially if you're about to enter the medical establishment.
17 hours of reading.
Holy cow! It just came out this year.
Just read, just listen to it. It's easy. You drive?
Oh yeah. No, I'm interested. I'm gonna look into it.
I'll get it, Bilal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a few things on my list to read, so I'll put that on the list as well.
There we go. Just got it. Got it.
All right. Throw in your credit card information live.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I'm down. Whatever.
Hopefully it's a company credit card.
So Sam, when are you gonna write your book?
It's gonna probably be right around when this thing grows to like a 60 to 120 bed program. then I'll consider writing it all down. But we got a lot more people to help. We got a lot more data to collect, and a lot more discoveries to make before I'm gonna codify anything. If anything, this is going to serve as a memorial of where we started, because we're just at the beginning of this journey.
How far in are you so far, and like what's some of the milestones for the future?
Yeah, so I mean, we just opened up the program, got the VA contract for Tri-West, so we can treat most of the Western United States. That's a huge milestone. Just putting this stuff all together took a long time. I mean, I've been working on this since 2017, full time. And the next milestone is to get this program filled up, grow it, and see it spread to multiple locations throughout the United States. I'd like to see one in my backyard of Denver, Colorado. That would be wonderful, as well as here in Idaho. And then from there, we've the company that the company that I work for, Altior, they have we have 5 different brands under us, and we have the ability to expand into like California, Texas, Maine, and New Hampshire, as well as our Idaho location. So, the goal is to expand. The goal is to just help more people, collect more data, and get the word out there. I think a big part of the reason that vets commit suicide, or take their own lives, I should say, is that there isn't hope. Like mental health has become for so long this brand that gets stuck to your fucking forehead, and people don't understand that like these states, even in the case of traumatic brain injury now, like these states are transient. We can repair this organ. We can bring healing to this space. We can rewire around trauma. And if there's any message that I hope people listen to, from this podcast is like, hey, if you're in a deep dark hole, guess what? You don't have to stay there. There are things that we have in our toolbox now that can help get you out.
Yeah, I think that's a huge message that you're,
Mhm.
I mean, I think Bilal, we hit that like every episode too, right?
Yeah.
There are good people out there in good groups, not trying to rummage through your wallet, right? They're part of great families and they're doing really great things. And here's the problem with this. How I explain it to people is like people being brainwashed that whatever their insurance is covering is all they need and is what they should get, because they don't understand that there is actually like, hey, there are solutions out there that are not advertised to you, that you may not know about, and that actually are solving and curing and addressing these issues that you have lived chronically with. And I do not limit myself anymore at all. Like I drive 2 hours for this one physical therapist who used to do the Olympic team, and he has like cured stuff in one session that these other people years. I'm not kidding. I came out of there and I was like, I was just so angry that I've been stuck in this VA and military medical system of no solutions, right? Please, if you have something going on, like reach out to Sam and what he is doing, reach out to these VSOs and these really great organizations. And if Sam doesn't have the solution, he knows someone who does. I know it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many resources. There's so many resources.
Please reach out, please.
Dude, just for TBI alone, like there's a ton of great nonprofits like America's Mighty Warriors. Debbie does such an awesome job, helping vets get access to things that are not being paid for. There are a ton of resources. It's just, you got to reach outside the hole to put your hand up so someone can pick you up. That's really what it comes down to.
All right, and we're getting up to time here. So, but we always do this to every guest, and so far we're 100%, Bilal. So let's see what happens here. Sam, what games did you play?
A lot of pressure.
Yep. What games did you play growing up? What games do you play now?
Okay, well, growing up, I find after like basically just threatening my parents with like the ugly side of civil disobedience, I got myself a GameCube. And as 007 Nightfire, like with the bots on level 9, I was odd job all the time, just crushing fools. And now I'm split between Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. I just started a new character, and Starfield. Like me and Bethesda, we're like this. I would do some dirty things if Todd Howard would let me. Skyrim took a solid 400 hours off my deployment to Afghanistan, so I owe him a little bit.
Nice. Okay, so you liked when you were growing up, was that the only one, 007? I really liked that game on N64.
Oh, I mean, the list goes on. I've been a gamer since I was old enough to pick up a controller. I mean, I think very first game was like Super Mario 3 on the NES. And then I've got a Series X in my house that I have been away from for 2 weeks, and I'm about to go have a very intimate relationship with later this week.
All right, cool. So I like this though, like the whole secret agent and like with 007, did you like the scope? Or what kind of were you attacker, like camper, like what kind of
I'm always hyper aggressive.
Yeah.
Like I play a lot of paintball too, and I love going out in the woods and shooting kids with paintballs.
No, but we asked this question because what we find is that the video games people played, or back then and now, correlate to what they're doing in real life. I mean, Ken's testament to this. And it seems like you are too, because the games that you play, a lot of them are story-driven games, exploring games. And what you're doing is essentially the culmination of your story. This is a stretch, but like it makes sense. It's a culmination of your story. I mean, really coming to fruition into what is Patriot PowerUp. At least that's how I look at it. Call it a stretch, but I think that's a pretty fair parallel to make.
I don't think you're stretching very far. I mean, I've always found that those games where we talked about the flow state, like where you can disengage from your surroundings, become completely engrossed. You got your cans on. I don't know about you guys. I'm a huge fan of the Philips Hue LED gradient strip on the back of the TV. If you don't have it, do yourself a favor, get the sync box. It's worth it because it like makes it feel like your TV is like just punching you in the face. It's great. It increases the dopamine from watching TV by at least 20%. And yeah, man, just getting fully immersed and like, man, all I got to worry about is slaying this fucking dragon right now. Like, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice.
So full immersion, Bilal, is what he's doing in his job right now with his clients, right? Targeted aggression against the antibodies that infect those clients and patients that come in. It's extremely aggressive. I mean, this is like, I'm looking at these protocols and I mean, this is extremely aggressive. Like this is effective. Like we're not messing, not risky, but like, hey,
you gotta be careful about that terminology in medicine.
Yep. Yeah.
People are gonna think we're doing chemotherapy here. That's not the case. This is all super safe. Your body reacts very, very well to these, and there's very few side effects. Gotta throw that disclaimer there.
I think call it proactive.
Proactive.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, sorry. I'll see if I'll edit that out. I don't know. Not a medical.
It's okay. No. Keep it. It's cool.
It's genuine.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. I mean, you are part of the cohort of people we've had on this show who are just like destroying barriers and paradigms and ushering in this new era of like effective client specific custom like medical protocols that are working. This is amazing. I love it, man. I love it.
Thanks.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So
it makes it easy to get out of bed in the morning.
that's like a big deal. That's like a really big deal.
I've watched guy and it just it's so fucking cool to see someone who has been struggling for like decades, like the first bit of relief on their face after they've been in pain for so long, and they're just like, holy shit, like, wait, can I feel this way all the time? Yes, you can.
Breaks my heart, man, when so many people out there just hurting for so long because they just don't know, man. Like,
yeah. Well, not for much longer. Like this is a huge step. Like what you guys are doing is, you're getting the word out about that shit that's going to save people's lives.
I hope so. We have confirmed folks who have watched this and are on our Discord that we have saved these lives. So
yeah,
I mean, Bilal, I mean, every day after this is a bonus, brother. Like that's pretty awesome. So, all right, if folks want to reach out to you or know more about what you're doing, where shall they go?
PatriotPowerUp.com. You can find, our admissions number. In order to get into our program, you do need a referral from your VA provider. We're in the Tri-West network of the VA, so it's the western side of the country. So I'm gonna list off these states real quick. Washington, Oregon, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado. Yep, that's our website. Utah, Colorado, California, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and Texas. Boom, right there.
Wow, that's impressive. From you had some PTS and some memory issues to be able to just throw those states off as a testament to your
Hey man,
you are healed.
I put stem cells in my brain and it worked really well.
Yeah, this is
Oh, I
great. And there
see
you are.
John draws. Let's see.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
scroll up. Yeah.
What?
Look at our boy.
Yep.
John
Me and
draws
Sean
PhD.
we've been working together on this for a while.
He's part of the Warrior Gamer team and the part of the board.
Oh, I know. I was there when you guys were founded.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, this
It's
is
all coming
great.
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all part of this. We're all part of this thing, man. And yeah, you got that's our admissions number right there. So call that number or the website. I'm also happy to leave my email address with Ken. If we got any vets who are interested in reaching out, you just shoot me an email. I will get back to you in very short order. Because I've been where you are and it fucking sucks and it doesn't need to anymore.
Nice. So, Sam, uncomfortable question. If I'm in the East Coast or I'm on TRICARE East, what are my solutions? What are my options? Or what should, maybe if you were in my position, should I call the VA and demand them to contract with you guys, or like,
You can try that. So there's a number, it really depends on what's going on. Happy to talk to those folks as well, but the biggest things you can do for treating, PTSD, TBI, ketamine infusion therapy is available in just about every single major city. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, there are a number of clinics, including I want to say it's the 22 project, but there's a number of resources on the East Coast where you can get things like hyperbaric oxygen therapy covered. Unfortunately, we're not on the East Coast yet, so it is on our roadmap within the next couple of years to open up on the East Coast. We know there's a lot of need.
Cool. So if I'm on the East Coast, can I get referred out to the West? Like, am I able to just fly over to you guys?
That you would have to change your home VA, so you have to have a home VA in one of those states,
okay,
in order to get a referral to our program.
Okay. All right. Well, that's helpful because we need people to be informed and to be equipped, right? So you can always reach out to us. Obviously, we have resources. We'll find people. If we don't have solutions, we will find those people. We guarantee it. Or we'll be exhausted. We will exhaust every avenue. So, and we know people that will take care of other vets. So you're good with us. All right, Sam. Bilal, you have the last word, my friend, and we'll give you back your evening.
Yeah, when do you come to California?
I'm in California pretty often. That's where our corporate headquarters is. So, which part of Cali?
Just north of LA right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I go to Santa Monica when I go.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah.
Nice. And that also includes like getting a Patriot PowerUp in California or something, because it sounds cool.
Yeah, the LAVA actually rejected our application. Or it was the Santa Monica, it might have been the Santa Monica VA, but I mean that's part of the greater LA system. So yeah, we put in an application and it got rejected. But as we build this program and we're showing the outcomes that we're getting right now, I have no worries about being able to get additional contracts with the VA. Like we're saving the money. We're helping people. They're getting better. They're staying better. That's what matters.
I'm looking forward to seeing you all over.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Me too. All right, guys. Appreciate it so much, Sam. You're awesome. As I said before, your information will be in the show notes. And if anybody needs anything else, reach out to us. No problem. We'll take care of you. And that's a wrap.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
Warrior Gamer Headquarters Podcast. Out.